I'm going to talk about leadership. While I'm here in Vietnam, I visited the War Remnants Museum, the Vietnam War. I went to the palace. I just basically took the day off, and I actually went with a tour guide, and we walked. 41 years old. His father served for the Viet Cong. I got that story. A young man of hard working, his wife hard working, good English, 2 children. His parents live with him. Very typical. Why am I talking about leadership? Because I saw we had none during the 20 years of fighting the Vietnamese. Are you aware there were 5 presidents making decisions on the Vietnam War? Starting with Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, LBJ, Nixon. That was our leadership. I spent a couple hours, maybe longer, walking through this museum, this beautiful museum, and very quiet. In my guide, it's on a 3-tier, 3-story building. He said, Brock, you go up alone. Here are the 8 rooms. You go through them. I said, why don't you come in with me? He goes, no. It's too emotional. It's okay, fine. And I thought I knew something about the Vietnam War because it was during the war. I was in high school playing sports, and do you think I was concentrating on the war? No. I was concentrating on hockey, sports, girls, a little bit of school. School included partying, in that order. My brother served. He doesn't talk about it. My older brother is, let me see here, he's close to 8 years older than me. I'm number 5 of the 11, and my brother was drafted. He served as a printer. Our family has a printing background, printing business. And our leader at the time was our father. 100% Italian, traditional, very conservative, hardworking guy. Had a technical background, not a college education. 11 kids. We didn't talk education. We talked work. We talked work. 8 boys, 3 girls. The neighborhood I was from, South St. Paul, Minnesota, had multiple guys that went to Vietnam. Some did not return. We had a blue-collar, lower-middle-class neighborhood. 1973, the draft was discontinued. I graduated May of 1973. I didn't worry about the draft. And I wasn't thinking college because I had no money, and my brothers and sisters, we didn't think college. We thought trade school, printing school. I had no clue. I had no mechanical aptitude or interest. I wanted to play hockey. I thought that was my talent. I didn't realize that school was that important. So as I walk through that museum, I'm thinking my past. I'm thinking about my brother. what he did, where he was, where he served as a printer, printing propaganda at the time. United States print propaganda? Are you serious? All the things that we did not know and I was not aware of as I walked through that museum. And I just got deeper and deeper into a sad state. I was so fucking embarrassed of our country. And so proud of our veterans. These kids, 18 years old, drafted. I know one guy that was a tank driver. He was 21, and he was called the old man. But I want to go back to the leadership. We went to the palace first, the Independent Palace, and we walked through and saw all the pictures and saw the barriers and the furniture and how everything was set up for the politicians, for the peacemakers. It's all bullshit. Our leadership were the worst during that time. They had no fucking clue. You talk about FAFO. Pfft. That was the Vietnamese. That was Vietnam. FAFO. For 20 years, our leadership had no clue of the culture, had no clue of even what the conflict was about. And Kissinger, let's not go there. He was no negotiator. Advisor bullshit. While our kids were killed. There was one stat indicating there were 500,000 troops on the ground in 1968. And of the 60,000 killed that we know of, U.S. soldiers, close to 30% were killed in 1968. I'm telling you, man, you talk about leadership today, and here I'm in business. After I started my career in 75. So it's been 50 years. The same amount of time between the end of the war, April. I started my job April 1st, 1975. So the emotions that I was going through, and I was alone walking through, seeing people, and I would look at their faces and see if they wanted to cry the way I wanted to. And I eventually did. Walked away. And had no one to talk to because I didn't hear anybody speaking English. But I thought about these idiots. Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, LBJ, Nixon. Power. I have no clue what they were doing. Let's not talk about the 5 million killed in the country of Vietnam, the North and the South, the 300,000 missing. I took some notes about the worst fucking things that we did. I'm talking about the United States. I never even knew in 1964 the Gulf of Tonkin. You got to look this up. And this is LBJ's bullshit. He thought that was the strategy to go in there and win the war. 1964. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And more bombs. Chemical warfare. Napalm, if that's the way you pronounce it. You won't believe this. It was created during the Second World War by a Harvard professor that they did the testing. And I went to Harvard Business School. They did the testing on the Harvard football field. So they started using napalm in the 40s during the Second World War. And he just brought it over to Vietnam. And you should see the images of what this did to people. Agent Orange still having the aftermath is still going on. You wouldn't believe what that's done to not only the country, the people, our veterans. Because they just sprayed this shit, man. Chemical warfare. So you talk about, I was in Japan last year and went through that Hiroshima museum. My God. How about the My Lai massacre? Look that one up for all you youngsters. And the courage of these guys that caught these leaders killing these children. And they showed images at this museum. They showed the truth, man. Yeah, they went to trial. Yeah, they did this. Yeah, they did. Not enough, though. And how many weren't told the truth? And what this whole video is really about is leadership. Because what I'm saying here is the failure of the leadership for those 5 leaders, it couldn't do shit. And I would think, okay, how many kids are there served? How many kids of those politicians and their connections served? How many were killed? And the biggest thing that I've really learned is when I walked away, the emotional aspect of it was, have we learned anything? Has the United States learned anything from these failures and these leadership failures? Even today. We know where we are with Ukraine. We know where we are in negotiations with Russia. And guess what? The few people that I've talked to here, younger people in Vietnam, they're still concerned about the Chinese and Taiwan. Who's going to go to war next? North Korea is teaming up with Russia, Ukraine, Europe. Who's our negotiators? Who are our leaders? Who's going to put this right? So when I talk about leadership, because that's what I talk about, as an employer, as an entrepreneur, and as a father, as a grandfather, that's part of leadership. I was led by ethics and morals and integrity by my parents. That's leadership. That's when I run into my clients and decide, do I really want to work for this guy or this person or this organization, this brand? Because the more I get educated, the more experience I get, it's not for the bucks anymore. It's about, do I really want to team up with these people to do the right thing? We messed around with the wrong people in the wrong country, the United States, and we paid for it. And those guys, those veterans, they're fucking heroes, man. These are hard-working people. And they're talking about 12, 14 million people in Ho Chi Minh. And close to half are under 40 years old, very entrepreneurial. They care about education. But they don't have the opportunity that I have had. And I feel for them. Because not everybody gets an opportunity. So, hell of an experience. Hell of an experience. And I will tell you this, I was embarrassed to be an American. And nobody knew that walking through the streets of Ho Chi Minh, Saigon, after 50 years. I could see the progress. And you know what? No one's bitching about it. But as I see these elderly people go there, walk by the 70-year-olds or whatever, I'm saying, man, they got history. They have history in that brain, but I can't communicate. I'd be ashamed to say that I was an American. So, I'm involved with this group called Dove. And they're about giving back. They're veterans, 25 years of giving back. And it's about Agent Orange scholarships, building schools for young kids. They've had like over 20,000 kids go through their schools. I hope this is informative about watching who you pick as your horse, as your mentor, as your leader. And I hope the United States makes its right decisions with our leadership of today. Let's not talk about Korea. Let's not talk about Iraq. Let's not talk about Afghanistan. It's just Vietnam. Just Vietnam. So, pretty tough stuff, man. This is serious. I know it's serious. Yeah, I am a serious guy. But I'll tell you, I love these people. They're so... You feel safe here, man. You feel safe. But as I walk through, I'm really walking through the 70s. Because that's where my mind was when I came here. I looked at it and I went, wow. But my heart goes out to them. We are so lucky to be Americans. I hope we don't fuck it up. Because now it's about the grandkids and the children after that. So where are our leaders? Lee Iacocca wrote a book called Where Are Our Leaders? I've listened to it more than once. It's a great book, man. And he predicted shit back in 2007. And he was also criticizing our leaders, our presidents. And when Vietnam talked about the war was worth it for their independence and freedom, that's what the Ukraine is saying right now. And it just shocked me when I saw that on that memo. The Vietnam War was worth it because of our independence and freedom. And that's exactly what the Ukraine people are saying right now. I pray to God that it all works out, man, because war is a bad deal. And I hope they don't recreate this War Remnants 25 years from now, 50 years from now. So anyway, I like to end it with my mantra, which is always bring joy. That's the key. But our goal as parents and grandparents and so on is to help create leaders with morals and ethics and principles and integrity, men and women. So let's go out and do it. I'll talk to you soon. Always bring joy.